Yo, what's going on, everybody? Great to see you. Time for another live stream. It's 3 o'clock Saturday here in New Vienna, Iowa, August 15th, 2020. Glad to see everybody here. Sorry for kind of like the late setup for today. I normally try to get kind of like the thumbnail and get the live stream scheduled at 2 o'clock for the 3 o'clock start. I got it to a little bit late today. I'll explain in a minute. Just let's see how you guys are doing. Let's see who's here. I've been checking you guys out in kind of the pre-live stream chat. Looks like it's Chris Yao's dad's birthday today, so happy birthday, Dad. Also, Martha's here. Worried that some people are going to be late for roll call. I guess that's what this part is. I kind of like this part. We got Steve says, hi, guys. Where is everyone? I think it's because I got it started late or scheduled, not as early as I normally do. It doesn't enable people to kind of like get ready for the live stream. Or I also think that maybe people are thinking, you know what, I haven't seen like the scheduled thing yet. Maybe today's a day with everything going on that there isn't a live stream. So I understand if people come in late. JC says it's about that time again. Lou712 says happy birthday to your dad, Chris. Awesome. Chris says we are full on enchiladas and cheesecake. That's a combination. That sounds delicious. I haven't had either enchiladas or cheesecake in a long time. Cheesecake is one of my favorite desserts. All right. Inez Dunbar says, hi, Kofuzi. Today's run took me to 2,020 kilometers for the year. That's just over last year's total running miles. Awesome. And it looks like I forgot to turn on the record button for the live stream. So the live stream people are going to just jump in the middle right here. Welcome, everybody. Pete G1980 says, hi, Kofuzi, how's it going? I ran a half marathon today, just in under 2 hours. Well, that's awesome. Great work, Pete G1980. Awesome. I had a longish run today. Ran 11 miles, and it was a pretty eventful run. The knee bothered me for a little bit, but not until much later than usual today, not until mile 5.5. I saw two dogs, the same two dogs that kind of always follow me. But this time I stopped and didn't let them come with me, and I waited for the farmer to come out to come get it. And I think she's nice about it, but I think I'm really annoying her. And then I also saw a dead skunk, and it was stinky, very stinky. Part skunk smell and part decaying animal roadkill smell. So that was interesting. And it was a busy day out on the country roads today. I'm starting to think that what happens is on Saturdays, I think a lot of people, people do a lot of driving and riding motorcycles for fun around here because the roads are nice to do that on. And so there was a little bit of that, but a lot of work, farm vehicle type of work, not tractors necessarily, but trucks and other stuff hauling things. And I think that on those country roads, the back roads that I was on, I think a lot of people farm on the weekends or help their relatives farm on the weekends, things like that. So it was pretty busy out there today. I was surprised. But PG, congratulations on the half marathon under 2 hours. Stevie76 says, yo, what's going on? Leona Wong says, have your dad celebrate with us, Chris. Awesome. Chris Yao says, thanks, everyone. His dad is trying to figure out what's going on. LOL. Awesome. Benning is here. Shannon is here as well. Kiefer Vacation says, all right, we got Kofuzi. Recycled on Wednesday says present for the roll call. Awesome. Julian Gomez, Sodi Mac. Tony Yu says, eating sushi in the car with wife and watching you. That's an interesting date. My wife and I'll get to the story for today because it's kind of related to that. My wife and I kind of went on a date today. The first time we've done something like that since March. And the date was we went to Walmart. Which is something we've kind of been avoiding doing. But the two of us went. We had Grandma watch the kids, and we got our masks, and we went to Walmart to buy some bikes. Because we've been just talking about it, and we're like, it's taking forever because we can't make a decision. We don't know where to buy them from. I called a bunch of bike shops in the area. There's 3. I called a couple of them. I didn't call them all. And they were all like, yeah, normally we have 300 bikes on hand, but right now I've got 15. So I was like, all right, we're never going to get bikes. So we happened to talk to my wife's sister came over with her family. We all hung out outside. And they were like, oh, yeah, I was just at Walmart in Manchester, and they've got tons of bikes there. I was at the Walmart in Dubuque, and she's like, there's none there, but the Walmart in Manchester has tons of bikes. So we're like, all right, let's just go. We're going to get some bikes. whatever they have is what we'll ride, and we'll make it simple. So, sorry, some motorcycles going by. So that's what we did. So we went this morning and got some bikes. And it was like, and as we were walking up, I look over and I'm like, this is the first thing that you and I have done together since March. I'm calling it a date. So that's what we did. And it was kind of nice to just spend time with her. We were a little bit nervous because I don't think either of us have been in a Walmart in a while. But they have a mask rule nationwide for their stores. So compliance was relatively good. And the store wasn't that busy, so we were able to we rode the bike up and down the aisles, and she has one that I think fits her pretty well, and I ended up getting a bike that is a bike, and we also ended up getting another one for my daughter, a bigger one for her, because the one she has she's outgrown. We bought 2 helmets, and it was all of that was way under the price that I would have paid for a bike at a bike shop. So I know that the quality is very different, and I'll get to more of that in the story soon. But it was just amazing. I was like, how could they sell 3 bikes for under $450? But that's kind of what we paid. It was crazy. We have bike helmets already, my wife and I, but our bike helmets are in Chicago, so we needed some new bike helmets as well. We got a bike carry, I don't know what they're called, the trailer where the kid can sit inside. We ordered one of those on Amazon last night, so hopefully, I think we're just going to take another week for it to get here, but next weekend hopefully we can have our first family ride like that. But we decided, we got home, we ate some lunch, everyone tried their bike around in the driveway riding up and down, and everyone was fine. We made some adjustments to seat position and things like that, and then we went inside to eat lunch, and then I was said to my wife, hey, we should go for a ride together. I'll take you along the normal loop that I run around, and we'll just go. It'll be a little bit more than 5 miles. We can ride a bike together. And riding bikes together is something I have not done with my wife probably since the daughter was born. So it can't possibly have been that long. But it might have been that long. It could have been 8 years ago the last time we rode the 2 of us bikes together. So we were about to go for a ride, and I figured I'd record it on the watch just to have the activity recorded. And let me pull up the Strava entry. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. Where'd it go? Here's the Strava activity from our lunch ride today. We made it a grand total of 0.13 miles in about 90 seconds before the bike broke. So I was shifting a gear, and I had one of these kinds of shifters where you turn on the handlebar, and I did that as I was shifting gear, and all of a sudden the back wheel locked up and I was skidding to a stop. And then I get off the bike and I look at it. Here's the bike, by the way. So it was a mountain bike. She has a mountain bike as well. That's not what I would have picked, but that's the only style of bike that they had for adults. So that's the bike that I had, and here's what happened to it. This part over here, I think normally hangs down lower. I don't know what any of these terms are, but this part that makes the chain move back and forth, that broke off of this thing completely. And when I found it, it was stuck between the spokes here and these parts of the frame. It just kind of just disintegrated. So this, I think this part over here normally attaches over here, and these parts dangle lower down here. I don't know. So then I thought maybe maybe the chain just got loose, and then I looked at it and I was like, no, this is not a loose chain. So we have to walk the bike back. Fortunately, it wasn't very far. It was only 0.13 miles. But yeah, so that was it. So that was the bike, and we're like, all right, well, I guess we're going back to Walmart to see if they'll take it back. So we borrowed my in-laws truck, and then we put the bike back in the truck, and we went back to Walmart, and we came back. I got a different bike. They didn't have any more of that same bike, but I got a different one. It's a little bit small for me, I think, but I think it'll work. But that bike's even cheaper than the bike that I originally got. So now we have that and a $50 Walmart gift card, because that's the difference in price. But so that's what we've been doing today. I'm going to go for a ride after the live stream today. Hopefully that'll work out, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. But I told you guys yesterday that I was either going to I was either going to have to go to a bike shop and get it done, taken care of there, which is what I was very willing to do. But I was like, I'll probably get overwhelmed with all like the decisions to make and all the potential like things that I could do wrong. And instead, I just gave up and bought a bike at Walmart. So hopefully that works out. We'll see how it goes. We've got a super chat from Andrew Orlov. Awesome. Thanks so much. He says, hey, is the brightness of your monitor too high or room too dark? Wouldn't it affect your eyes? Worried about you. Yeah. So thanks so much for the concern. I can turn it up a little bit, the brightness on the camera. It's really bright. I mean, these are harsh lighting conditions. My face is still like sunscreen covered, so that's what that is. But yeah, so I can turn it up a little bit. Normally, I just have the natural light of the window in front of me, Andrew, and then the lights in the room are back, so are black, so they're off. So it is very stark lighting conditions, but I kind of like that for film on video. But it's plenty bright for me to see here. But I thank you for your concern. Awesome. So, yeah. So that's the story for today. Yeah. Jody Run says, now you've learned why you pay extra at a bike shop who would have made sure you had the correct size bike and better quality. For sure. I mean, the bike is $100. It's a $100 bike. I don't expect it to last very long. But I feel like now, at least I have a bike and I could ride with it. Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll be able to like attach to the trailer that I want to put on it. We'll see. So this is probably not the end of the story on the bikes. But, I'm certainly willing to pay more for a better quality bike. But, like, there aren't bikes to buy right now. So, yeah. JC says, hastily put together, I guess. It stinks, but it's a hell of a good story. Yeah, I mean, the other reason why I wanted to buy the bike this way, rather than like order something online and have it shipped over here, was I wanted to have the bike assembled by someone else. Because I've bought a bike not going to a bike shop before. I mean, we go to our local bike shop frequently, Johnny Sprockets in Chicago, but I've ordered bikes before, and I bought a Schwinn like commuter bike before, and the only things you had to do were, I think, like put the front wheel on, and it was like a removable front wheel thing. So you had to put the front wheel on and the pedals, and I messed it up. One time I was riding the bike, and not the pedal, but the part that connects the pedal to the thing with all the spiky things on it. It's like a shank of some sort. That came off the bike. And it was most certainly because I just don't know how to assemble things. And so like I was like, there were 2 parts to put together on this bike, and I missed up 50% of them. So I wanted to have a bike that I could like walk out the door with and just start riding. And the main thing being, if something goes wrong, I want it to be very clear that it wasn't my fault. So that was part of what I'm talking about. Yeah. Frank, who you're helping me out with some of the terms, is the derailleur is the part that just like broke off the bike. Yeah. Steve says, I had my 3-year-old on the back of my bike in a seat and makes balancing stationary a bit dodgy. Yeah, I'm worried about that too. And I was very worried about it, especially since she's 4 now. The 4-year-old has the attention span of a 4-year-old, and so I feel like she would just get bored and like try to jump off, kind of like if you had like a puppy on a bike. And so we were thinking we'll put her in the thing that you tow that has the 2 wheels, and it looks like a little mini camper thing. So that's kind of like what we got for her. So hopefully that'll work. Yeah. So so it was pretty funny, and I was just thinking like, this is the kind of thing that I feel like this is only happens to me. Like only I can have a bike where the pedal part falls off, or I think it's the derailleur Frank was saying. So the derailleur like just snapped off the bike. It wasn't that it fell off, but like it's something snapped on it, and so you can't like put it back on. It's crazy. Shannon says, derailleur broke off and so did the jockey wheel. Bummer. Cycling is so fun, but I have to take it to get fixed every week. That's something that I'm pretty concerned about. Is like I hear when I hear about like people training for triathlons or competing in triathlons, I hear about like equipment failure, like having extra spare tires, like a tool to like fix what you can fix like in the middle of a race. and just other like things happening. And I'm like, I guess it behooves me to figure that stuff out now and learn about it a little bit more. But like, if a piece is broken, you're walking home or you have to call for help, you can fix so many things, but it does make me a little bit nervous at times. Martha says, LOL at BSO, and explaining for me what that is, because I don't know. Bike-shaped object. We musicians call bad pianos PSOs. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Chris says, at least you didn't have to poop. I did poop once right before we went out for the ride, because I wanted to make sure, pooping in the corn is one thing, but having to poop in the corn with your wife is another. So I made sure I went to the bathroom again. Emma Wilhelm says, hey, finally made it on a Saturday. Awesome. Wadi77 says, love from South Africa. Love your videos, man. Thank you. Thanks so much. That's cool you're checking in from South Africa. Carlos Sejas is here as well. Awesome. Yeah. Emma Wilhelm says, anyone have hip bursitis? Had to end an 8-miler this morning due to hip pain. Huge bummer. I don't think I've ever experienced that. I'm not sure, but maybe someone else has some information in the comments. All right. Carlos Sejas said he did his half marathon today, got second, and hit under the time goal. Awesome. Great work. Fantastic. I think we need some bells. Here we go. Got some bells. Yeah. Congratulations. Coming in second. Awesome. Amazing. That's a long cowbell. Let's see. Cool. Yeah. Let's skip to the bottom here. I think I was going to read something and then it moved, so sorry. Oh, here we go. Nay Hit Tetwin says, I just started running last month. I quit all of sports last 13 to 14 years ago. I'm in really hard time now. Love to watch your vlogs, by the way. Awesome. Well, welcome back to running. Hopefully it'll come back to you real quick. And glad to have you here. Welcome. Frank Lahuler says, the biggest joy of cycling is wrenching. Is it? I read a book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and I read that back when I was riding a motorcycle, and it was my only form of transportation. My car had gotten stolen in St. Louis, and I decided I didn't really like cars, and I didn't really want to get another one, and so I just bought a motorcycle and rode that for a while. It was cold. It was very, very cold. St. Louis winters aren't that cold, but when you're riding a motorcycle at 50 miles an hour, it gets cold. But, they were talking about that in that book, there's two kinds of people. The kind of people that, love to learn everything about the bike, and they want it as simple as possible. So no cooler, nothing like that, just like a carburetor and the engine, and, keep it really, really simple. And they want to get in there and change the oil themselves, change the carbs and spark plugs, all that kind of stuff. And there's another kind of person that they kind of classified them as the BMW bike rider. I don't know if they said that, or maybe that's just what I put to it. And they just want to be able to ride the bike, and they don't care about the mechanical part. And they were very disparaging of that second type of person. But I think I'm not clearly in one camp or the other, but I lean more towards the BMW camp, where, the mechanicalness of it is, well, for me, I always had really old used bikes. I had a 1984 Yamaha Seika 400cc, and I had a Suzuki Intruder 1300, a 1996. And so they were old bikes even when I had them. And anytime you tried to fix anything, it was never straightforward. It was never take off these 3 bolts, take off the part, clean it, put it back on, bolt everything back up. It was, all right, here are the 3 bolts. One of them, I sheared the head off. The other ones are stripped. Now I got to get a drill bit to drill them all out, and then figure that out. And then I got to get replacement bolts, and it's also my main mode of transportation. I got to go to work tomorrow, but now I've got no bolts holding on the muffler or the exhaust pipe. So it's well, now what? So that was just everything was always super frustrating, and nothing was straightforward, and I just didn't like it very much. I learned a lot about small engines and rust. But yeah, so I'm not looking that forward to like learning about how to take care of a bicycle. But I think I need to do it because Frank Lahuri says the biggest joy of cycling is wrenching, that and going fast. Yeah, I like the going fast part. Tony Massey says, been racing tri for 8+ years. No mechanicals so far. Knocks on wood. Well, that's cool. That's good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because it seems like everyone has a horrible story about it. How like just things are just falling apart. Yeah. Lewis M says, wanted to ask this yesterday, but what were you drinking yesterday? Also, do you enjoy bourbon? Yesterday I was drinking Coors Light. And bourbon is kind of like not always my favorite whiskey to drink. I feel like bourbon has a lot more character and a lot more flavors to it that I don't necessarily appreciate. I kind of like my whiskeys to be very clean. I mean, like, most people would probably consider it. Sorry, the wind is blowing and these curtains are going insane. Most people probably consider that I have bad taste in whiskey, but my kind of like two favorites are, as far as like everyday cheap whiskey to drink, I'd prefer a Jameson, either neat or on the rocks. But my other favorite would be like a Balvenie, like a 10-year-old or 15-year-old. I don't know what are the ages that they make them in, but they come in the big canisters. Like one of them is like yellow, the other was like kind of like a parchment yellow, like whitish yellow kind of color. But those are great. Really straightforward flavors, very clean, no burn. Just delicious like whiskey taste. So that's kind of how I like to drink my whiskeys. In his Dunbar says, can't believe you paid less for a bike than a pair of running shoes. Good job. J. Mike Remy isn't here. He may have some opinions on this. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack. But yeah, I was telling that to my wife on the way out. I was like, do you realize that I have like without even a second thought spent more on a pair of shoes than we spent on like any one of these bikes today? And she's like, you have? I don't think she realized how expensive some of these running shoes are that I've been buying. I was like, yeah. I was like, I think you knew about that. Yeah, but it was either get these like mountain bikes, like at the store they had mountain bikes, or they had like beach cruisers. And so, I was looking at them like, I very may well show up to like my first like sprint try ever if we ever get a chance to do those. Like, and I think I'm going to try and show up with these Walmart bikes. Like out of like principle, I'm going to do that if they make it that long. So we'll try it. But I don't feel like I could have done that with a beach cruiser because there's only one, they're fixies, right? There's only one gear. So Recycle on Wednesday says, I think getting a Walmart bike was a decent choice. I've been overthinking buying a bike for years now. Probably would get better to get any bike to get past the overthinking and get the decent bike after. I mean, that's exactly what my wife was saying. She's like, at least now you have a bike and now like you can have it and like think about what you want to get next based on what you have now and sizing and fit, all that kind of thing. And then go from there. And then at least in the meantime, while you're waiting for it, you'll have a bike. And so I'm like, okay, all right. Let's see. DEW Running likes Woodford Reserve. Woodford Reserve is tasty. It is a good whiskey. I like that one. Christine Booth says, my mom drinks a shot of bourbon and milk every night. She's 98 years old. I was about to say, how old is your mom? Because that does not sound like something that people have been doing recently. It sounds like a much older tradition. That's interesting. Wow. Every night? That's a lot. I mean, I guess I've been drinking a lot this summer. We've been around a lot of family. It's like summertime. We're trying to like have as like normal a summer as possible. And so I think I have been drinking a lot more beer than I have at like any other summer in a long time. Chris Dyke likes Irish whiskey and Scotch. Yep. Carlos Say's got to leave early. Glad to have you here while you were here. Have a good day. Frank Lawler says, one gear is a lot better than a broken derailleur. Yeah, that's true. It's a very good point. A very good point. A lot of those cruisers had baskets on it, and I was just like, how amazing would it be is if I'm like doing my first try and like all my gear is in the basket of the bicycle. That'd be kind of funny. Jody Run says, wife now knows how much you spend on shoes. Look like cheap running shoes from Walmart coming up from now on. Maybe. Gavin Braden says, you should try some Bushmills Irish whiskey. Bushmills is good, but it's usually more expensive than Jameson. And so I think that's why I don't normally drink it. Lewis M says he loves Woodford. Had a few last night. Currently enjoying Bullet bourbon. I like Bullet as well. I guess that is one that I do enjoy. Yeah. Good point. Leona Wong says, glad your knee is better. And how's your brother-in-law family doing? Thank you for asking. Yeah, they're doing better now. They actually got an electrician to come to the house today. That doesn't mean they're getting power. But what they need to do is, because every house, a lot of houses, like the box that's on the outside, their meter. A lot of meters got ripped off of houses, and the power company was saying that, like, you're going to need to get an electrician to check everything out, repair anything that needs to be repaired from, like, the inside of the house out to, like, the outside line before they'll turn power back on for people. And so it's a good preliminary first step. And then they got a couple of estimates for, like, the tree removal. And it's gonna, like, I think I didn't hear what all the cost estimates were, but the cheapest one of the ones I heard was $7,000 to get, like, a tree removed from a house, because you have to bring a crane in, and it's, like, sitting on the house. So I think that, like, not every, like, tree trimming service can do it. So, yeah, but I mean, it's progress. I think the homeowners insurance will cover it, but still, it's a big task and an expensive one. But they're doing well. My brother-in-law had his first day at the new school that he's working at, so he has an orientation yesterday. And then I think he's been, I don't know if he's been trying to work from home or from school. He's got to get his classroom ready. They start, I think, in a week. I mean, I think it's going to be really odd for him to have to, like, go to work when he doesn't even have power at home. But I think that's where they're at. Steve says, picked up the Peg 36 for 52 pounds today. Retired 35s for mowing lawns. Yeah, I've been really enjoying my Wave Riders 23, the Mizunos. It's been my work boot. It's been my lawn mowing shoe. It's been everything. I've been just when I can't wear flip flops or sandals, that's what I've been wearing, and it's actually been really working out for me. It's a very versatile shoe, not from a running perspective as much, but from just being able to live with it, it's been really working out for me. Yeah, let's see. Jay Page says Walmart online has Mizunos. Oh, I didn't know that. It's interesting. I'll have to look at that. Yeah. Alexandra Ferreira. I'm going to say Ferreira. I'm saying that wrong. Says, hello from Portugal. Do you think that the Meta Racer can be used in training at 5.2 minutes or 5 minutes, 20 minutes per kilometer? Thanks. That puts it... Yeah, I think that would be okay. But I think the main thing for me is that it'd be an expensive way to train. And depending on how long your runs are going to be, like how many kilometers you're running, you might want something that's just a little bit more cushioned for you. I mean, if you're running on grass or if you're doing that on a track, it's probably fine. But I would probably prefer to have something and just a little bit more cushion to it, because it doesn't have a lot of cushion. It's not a high stack height shoe. And it's expensive. So, it's one of those things that you'd probably want to save for your bigger workout days and for your races. But that aside, if the cost isn't an object, maybe you got a pair as a gift, or you don't care about the price, and some people don't, then yeah, it can be done, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. Jerome Manicia says, yo, bro, what's the best compromise between comfort and speed right now at running shoes in terms of marathon distances? I would say the Endorphin Speed is probably the best compromise between comfort and speed. As far as something that you're going to, like, race in. I would say other shoes that are really good at that compromise would be, I'd say, like Boston 9, Hyperion Tempo, Razor 3, I think the Ultra Escalante could certainly fit in there as well. Yeah, those are just a handful. So there's come in there. But the best compromise, since that's the question, I'd say endorphin speed. Shannon says, bah ha 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 ha. Kofuzi doing a try with a basket in front definitely would earn you the non-elite look. Yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't want people to think that I'm making fun of the sport, but I also want to like kind of embrace that I'm total out of my element, total noob in there, and like as a signal, like just stay away from me because I'm gonna probably hurt myself and maybe some other people on accident too, like as collateral damage. But yeah, I kind of want to do that. But I think that people will get mad if I did that. So I think like coming in with a mountain bike from Walmart, I'd probably put road tires on it, like commuter tires. I've done that. I had a Specialized Hard Rock before, and I did that, and I commuted with that for a while. This would have been like 15 years ago, maybe, in Chicago, and I really enjoyed that. And so like I've put like kind of road tires on a mountain bike before, and I think it works pretty well. So I think that I might, do that. My mother-in-law put like hybrid bike tires on her Walmart mountain bike, and she really likes it. And so she was like, I don't really need it to have the nubby tires, so I put it on different tires. I was like, I like that. Road Review says, I try avoiding Walmart as well, but that's because I work at one of the distribution centers. Oh, okay. I can understand that. You don't want to bring your like work home or go back to work when you're not at work. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Martha says Kofuzi needs a license plate on his bike that says non-elite. Do people actually have license plates for their bikes? When we were in Walmart, there was like a section where they had like all the names, and so you can buy a bike with like your name on it, and they had some that were blank, and it had an Iowa, like it was kind of like an Iowa license plate, like a similar background. And I was like, I'm a 40-year-old man, but should I get one and write in Sharpie like Kofuzi or non-elite on it and put it to hang like underneath my seat from the bike? Like that'd be pretty funny. Chris Dyke says, my running shoe lineup is slowly catching up to my whiskey assortment. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Oh, whiskey lineup. Yeah, I usually, when I haven't been really drinking a lot of whiskey lately. Basically, since I had kids, my whiskey consumption went way down. Although I do have a small collection of bottles at the office. But my whiskey collection at home has gone down, and I generally tend to drink like one bottle at a time. So there's never like a selection. Frankel Hoolier says, the Irish whiskey from Trader Joe's is surprisingly good. Yeah, they have one, and they have one that's called like Highland or something like that too. It's supposed to be more of a Scotch whiskey, and that's also not terrible. I mean, for the price, it's pretty good. Daniel Wen says, can you tell Nike to make a 4 to 6 millimeter LOL? No, I mean, I can't because they won't listen to me. But I think the Nike, I think the Nike Frees are still like 8 millimeter heel drop shoes, aren't they? So yeah, I don't think they're ever going to make that. Let's see. Tony Masia says, in sprint distance tries, it's very common to see all kinds of bikes. The sport is very welcoming. No one would be upset or offended. Well, that's good to know because I'm going to be that guy. And I'm going to have all kinds of bikes. I may have parts from several bikes by the time I get to one. Well, that's good to see. Right. Frank Hoolier says, triathletes are all Freds, though. So a decent road bike will already give you the non-expert look. All right. Joey Del Rosario says, how often do you think people should be using carbon-plated shoes? Is there a point where one could possibly be using them too much? Could overuse of them lead to injuries? I'm not aware of anyone that says like using them too much leads to injury. Because if that were in any way scientifically like provable, I think we would have heard so much of that, like when the Vaporfly first came out. Can you use it too much? I don't think that there's like a too much. I think a lot of it's preference. And I think most people prefer to kind of save that for their race day, so they have that like kind of extra special feeling. And the other thing is that those shoes are usually pretty expensive. So if you're logging lots of miles in them, you're going to go through shoes even faster. Sorry, like the lighting got all weird. And so that's kind of like the main thing. There are some people that say that like it's not good for their knees or they're not good for their feet when they run in them too much. So I think that from a person to person basis, certainly it can happen, where it could get to the point where it injures you. But I think for most people, it's like, if you want to, go ahead. I know a lot of people that run in like the Vaporfly 4% every day because it's just great on their knees and easy on the knees. And so they just like having that ZoomX foam underfoot. And, it's your feet, your dollars, go for it. If you like it, do it. I don't think anyone's on the other side. I don't think anyone is recommending that you run in a carbon plated shoe for every run either. So, all right. Frankie Hillier says, a Fred is a person who goes crazy with bike tech and has super aero tubing and rims, etc. That's what I kind of figured it was from the context, but I wasn't sure. And I guess I was too embarrassed to ask. But I think I'm glad that someone else asked for me. Timmy Pim is here, says hi. What's going on? Let's see. William Cooper says, what's your favorite medium cushion or low cushion everyday shoe? Favorite low cushion shoe? Let's see. Can I count the SL20 in that? We didn't say SL20 a single time yesterday, as far as I remember in yesterday's live stream. But I think the SL20, I ran for 11 miles in the SL20 today on an easy run. And it kind of worked. It's kind of a lower cushion shoe. It's a little bit more firm. I think that the New Balance Rebel can also kind of fit in that category as well, which I think is an oft overlooked shoe. Let's see. Timmy Pim says, do you think Joshua can get a 12:30 in the 5K? I don't know enough about his training to say one way or the other. But what's the current record, though? I forget. I mean, it just got broken like yesterday, right? Yeah. Nate Bird says, can you have a running cadence that is too high? Most people struggle with a cadence that's too low. I suppose that you could. It would be like really energy inefficient, I think. So I don't think you'd want to do that. And I think that you would naturally just not do it. I'm not aware. I don't know anyone that has that issue. But I suppose it's possible. Chris Dyke says, Kofuzi, please don't forget to mention you ran in the SL20s. And he says, haha, boom, as I hit send, I talked about it. I just really like the shoe. I don't know. And it's so insanely cheap. It's just none of it makes sense. Luis Becerra is waiting for his SL20s to arrive. Fani Teja Kambampati says, how do you keep yourself motivated? For right now, I mean, without like races to train for, I mean, there's races. I'm not comfortable going to them. Mainly because, I live with 5 other people right now too. So it's not just me that I have to think about whenever I go somewhere. But in terms of how I stay motivated, I'm really trying to think about how can I have fun running. I'm worried about like training a little bit. I'm worried about heart rate training a little bit. I'm worried about speed work a little bit. But I focus on like, how am I going to make sure I can continue to have fun out there every day? And so this week, while I'm still kind of hurt. So part of it was testing the knee, but part of it was, you know what? My stride. I was looking at my stride power curve numbers, and all my data is from back when we were in Gothenburg, or maybe even earlier than that. I'm not sure. So when it was 90 days ago, a lot of it's gonna like kind of expire in terms of stride speak. And so I was like, well, I guess I need some more runs with at least small bursts of activity where I have like a little bit higher output. And so I've been charging up like at least one of I've been picking like one big hill every day and charging up it. Today I ran down a flat and I've been trying to hit 300 watts at least once for, a couple seconds in each run. And so that's just like been something to think about just to mix it up, to make it a little bit more fun. So and then we'll have the Weird Mile series coming up. And so like, I'm just trying to have fun right now. I'm not caring so much about training styles or any of that other stuff. I still am like obsessed with the data, but I just want to have fun. So that's what I've been doing now, this far into like everything that's been going on. Ines Dunbar says, I just thought that even my cheapest unicycle cost more than your bike. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine like how do they even like pay for like not even the parts of the bike, but the labor and the shipping. Like that should cost more than $100 for this bike. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see if it makes it the 5 miles around the neighborhood. I'll go after the live stream today. I'll probably go in a little bit. So William Cooper says the Cheptegei world record for the 5K yesterday was 12:35. So the question was, can Jacob, I'm assuming you mean Joshua Ingebrigtsen get a 12:30? I don't know. 5 seconds is a lot for anybody, even an Ingebrigtsen. So we'll see. Yeah. It's just a lot. All right. Chris Dyke says, does anyone have track spikes for their training? I'm finding mine are extremely narrow in the midfoot. I will probably end with this one today because I got to get going. I got to get that bike tested out and see how that works out. But, I used to have spikes. I mean, I haven't had spikes in like probably about 20 years now. But we would put on our spikes for our speed days from time to time. Not every time. We might just wear the flats and not put spikes in them. Sometimes to do that on really, really hard days. For the most part, no, I don't think we really did. I don't think it's a bad idea if you're going to be doing track work. Or like, if you've got cross-country spikes and you want to just, you can't just open the box and run them necessarily the first time ever. You want to make sure that they're not going to hurt you. So in terms of fit and chafing, that kind of thing. So, we would take them out for runs before the meet, and just give them a test run, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, Chris is saying that they're extremely narrow in the midfoot. I mean, they should be like super snug all around. It should be like, like you're squeezing your foot in there kind of is the fit I think that they're going for. All right. Okay. Tony Macias is saying valve stems at 6 o'clock, cranks never at 180 degrees, other at your discretion, though the accepted practices include putting the chain on the big dog and no bottles in the cages. I don't understand half of that. I think you're still talking about bicycling. But I don't know. I'm going to go figure more stuff out in terms of this bike, see if it could survive a trip around the neighborhood. I'll probably go myself this time so I don't, accidentally injure my wife in case this bike explodes or falls apart or whatever. But wish me luck. Tomorrow I'll have a video up in the morning, and then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon. In the meantime, hope you guys are being safe out there on your runs or your rides, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everybody.